All right, today we're talking about something you've definitely seen, but maybe never had a name for. It's this hidden process, a machine really, that takes dangerous people and ideas and turns them into, well, harmless products. We're calling it deburring radicals.
So let's just get right to it with the central puzzle here. You've seen it a million times, right? How does a revolutionary, someone who wanted to burn the whole system to the ground, end up as a fashion statement on a t-shirt? And to really get at that question, we have to start with the ultimate example, the absolute poster child for revolution on a t-shirt. Okay, so this is the core of it. The paradox is just massive. On one hand, you've got the icon, right? Che Guevara. He's the symbol of rebellion you see on every college dorm wall. But then you have the man, a totally ruthless guerrilla commander, an uncompromising Marxist, who, let's be clear, personally executed people he saw as traitors. These two versions, they're not even in the same universe. So how in the world do you get from one to the other? Well, it doesn't happen by accident. There's this incredibly powerful cultural process at work. Think of it as a kind of machine. We're going to call it the deburring machine. So deburring, what does that even mean? Well, picture a piece of freshly cut metal. It's got all these sharp, jagged, dangerous edges, burrs. Deburring is the process of sanding all those sharp edges down, smoothing them out, until what was once a weapon is, well, it's just a polished, harmless object you can hold in your hand. And that's exactly what happens to ideas. You neutralize the danger until it's safe enough to put on a shelf and sell. And this whole thing follows a pretty predictable playbook. It's like a four-step process. Step one, a radical idea pops up, and it absolutely terrifies the establishment. Step two, the leader of that idea is neutralized. Often that means they're killed. Then comes the really clever part. Step three, their image gets completely disconnected from their actual dangerous ideas. And finally, step four, that clean, safe image gets polished, rebranded, and sold to the masses. The threat is totally gone, but the brand is more popular than ever. Okay, so let's put this deburring machine to the test. And we're going to start with a case study of someone we all think we know inside and out. Let's look at the dreamer versus the radical. So when you think of Martin Luther King Jr., what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most of us, it's the I Have a Dream speech, right? The version we celebrate every January is the prophet of a colorblind America, a peaceful visionary. It's the safe, inspirational version we all learned about in history class. But here's the thing. That picture is so incomplete, it's almost a different person. The gap between the mascot and the man is just staggering. The mascot is safe. The man, especially towards the end of his life, he was a fierce critic of American capitalism and militarism. He was organizing a poor people's campaign. He was considered so dangerous by the establishment that the FBI was spying on him, trying to slander him. That's not the same guy. Just listen to this. In 1967, talking about the Vietnam War, he said, and I'm quoting directly, "The United States is the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today." Wow. Just let that sink in. That is not the man from the inspirational posters, is it? All those sharp, uncomfortable edges of his message, they've been totally sanded away. And look, it wasn't just King. Think about Malcolm X. His phrase, "by any means necessary," was one of the sharpest, most radical statements in American politics. But over time, what's happened? That edge has been softened. He's become this general symbol of empowerment, which is true. But the most revolutionary, and for many, terrifying parts of his philosophy often get conveniently left out. Okay, so with all that in mind, let's circle back to our guy on the t-shirt. Let's look at Che again, but this time through our new deburring lens, the mascot versus the Marxist. Let's just ask a simple question. The real Che Guevara, the hardcore anti-capitalist revolutionary, how many shopping malls do you think he would have been cool with selling his face on a t-shirt? Yeah, the answer is a big fat zero. And that's really the whole trick, isn't it? The Che on the t-shirt is a ghost. He's been completely cut off from the actual man and what he did. He's just a generic symbol for rebellion, a fashion statement. The actual dangerous revolutionary, he's gone. All that's left is the safe, sellable mascot. Now, you might think this is just a modern political thing, but this deburring process is ancient. It goes back centuries. Let's wind the clock back and look at a different kind of battle, the saint versus the revolutionary. Okay, think of Francis of Assisi. We picture the gentle guy with birds on his shoulder, right? The little statue you put in your garden. That's the deburred version. The real Francis was a radical. He founded an order based on absolute hardcore poverty. He called out all wealth as a poison. His movement was so extreme, so revolutionary, it sent shockwaves of terror through the church establishment.
And if you want to see the ultimate example of this, some argue you just have to look at Jesus. I mean, think about it. The man who physically flipped tables and whipped moneylenders out of the temple, the preacher whose message was about a new kingdom that would completely overturn the existing powers, the guy who was seen as such a massive political threat that the Roman Empire publicly executed him, that guy gets transformed into a sweet, harmless baby in a manger. The most dangerous person imaginable becomes the coziest story we tell at Christmas.
So this isn't just ancient history. This machine is running right now, all around us. And you always know when the process is complete because it always ends in the same place, when the radical idea finally becomes a product you can buy.
For instance, you take radical feminism, a movement demanding a fundamental teardown and rebuilding of society, and what does it become? Girl boss mugs and t-shirts. See, the system didn't crush it, it ate it.
Or what about punk rock? A whole culture built on anti-corporate, anti-establishment rage. And today, it's a fashion aesthetic you can buy at a shop in the mall. Mall punk, the ultimate contradiction.
And one more, the hippie counterculture, which was all about rejecting materialism and consumer society. Where do you find it now? Neatly folded in the tie-dye section at Target. The irony is just, it's perfect, isn't it?
So you see the strategy now, right? It's genius, in a way. The system doesn't have to crush its enemies. That's messy. It's much smarter to just eat them, absorb them, digest them, and then sell a safe, neatly packaged version of them right back to the people who might have once been inspired by the real thing. And what's the end result of all this? The dangerous revolutionary, the person who was on fire with a world-changing idea, they're just gone, erased. And what's left in their place? A kind of Santa Claus, jolly, safe, completely non-threatening, and perfect for selling products during the holidays. Look, once you learn to spot this pattern, you will not be able to unsee it. You'll see it happening everywhere. So the question I want to leave you with isn't about Che or MLK. It's about right now. Take a look around. Who is being devalorized as we speak?